ጤና ይስጥልኝ ክቡራን ተመልካቾቻችን እንደምን ሰነበታችሁ የኢትዮ ዩዝ ሚዲያ ፕሮግራም አቅራቢያችሁ ብሌን ነኝ
እሺ በእኔ በተጨማሪ ፍጹም አበራ ባላለሁ በዛሬው ዕለት እዚህ በሲያትል አካባቢ ካሉት ብዙ የበጎ አድራጎት ድርጅቶች መካከል አንዱን ድርጅት ለእናንተ ለማስተዋወቅ ነው ዛሬ ከዚህ የተገኘ ነው የቃለ መጠይቅ ፕሮግራም ይዘን ቀርበናል ይሄን ድርጅት ከሌሎች ድርጅቶች ትንሽ ለየት የሚያደርገው አብዛኛው ስራውን በትውልድ ሀገራችን በኢትዮጵያ ስለሚያካሂዱት ስራ ነው ስራውን በህክምና ስራ ዘርፍ በኢትዮጵያ ከሚገኙ ሆስፒታሎች ጋር በመተባበር የአቅም ግንባታ ስራ ማካሄድን ነው በተለይም ትኩረት በመስጠት ዋነኛው ስራቸው በአዲስ አበባ በሚገኘው የጥቁር አንበሳ ሆስፒታል በጣም አስፈላጊና አንገብጋቢ የሆነውን የአነስቴዚያና ሰርጀሪ ወይም የቀዶ ጥገና ስራ ህክምና የአቅም ግንባታ ስራ ማካሄድ ነው የዚህም ድርጅት መስራቾች ከሆኑት መካከል ሁለቱን ዋና ዶክተሮች እዚህ በማዕከላችን ዛሬ ተገኝተዋል ከነሱም ጋር ቃለ መጠይቅ እናደርጋለን በፊታችን ኦክቶበር 6ም ይህን ድርጅት ለመደገፍ ስለተዘጋጀውም አንድ የገንዘብ ማሰባሰቢያ ዝግጅትም እናሳውቃችኋለን ቆይታችሁ ከኛ ጋር እንደሚሆን ተስፋ እናደርጋለን In today's program, we will be introducing you to a group of medical doctors and their support volunteers who are in the midst of implementing a remarkable medical capacity development program in Addis Ababa Ethiopia, often against huge sets of challenges. The organization is called the Seattle Anesthesia Outreach and was founded here in Seattle in 2008 by doctors and nurses working at the locally based Swedish Hospital. SAO, as it is known, is currently collaborating with the Black Lion Hospital in Addis Ababa, the largest hospital in Ethiopia, on a very challenging project that is designed to increase capacity in critical areas of need, including anesthesia and surgery. In support of SAO's work, local community members, both from the Ethiopian American community and also other communities around the greater Puget Sound, have planned a fundraising event on Sunday, October 6th at the Northwest African American Museum here in Seattle, Washington. And all our viewers are cordially invited to this event. To better introduce the work of SAO, we have here with us today Dr. Richard Solazzi, thank you, and Dr. Julian Judelman here with us today. And these are the founding members of SAO and are tireless advocates and volunteers who have traveled numerous times to Addis Ababa to work on this project.
Okay, for Dr. Solazzi and Dr. Judelman, in the next few minutes we'll be asking you a set of questions about yourselves as well as the organization you work with, which is the Black Lion Hospital in Ethiopia. Now, Dr. Judelman or Dr. Solazzi, would you like to start?
We're anesthesiologists working here at Swedish Hospital in Seattle, and the organization started out working in going initially to hospitals in South America along the model where groups of doctors and nurses would go out and help provide surgical procedures on a short-term basis for 1 week, as so many organizations do in the United States and all over the world. And this was done for several years, but then the group felt that they wanted to follow a different model, that this was really not a sustainable type of thing, that people were helped who got the surgery, but in fact, when you pack up and leave and go home, you've really made no difference in terms of the care provided on the ground locally. You've helped the people that got the surgery, but that's as far as it goes. And so the idea was to try and get involved in a project that would make a difference in terms of the care that was provided on a long term, some sort of more sustainable, ongoing project that would, along the lines of the old saying that if you give somebody fish, you help them, but if you teach them to fish, then they can help themselves. And so that was sort of the guiding principle of starting this project.
Now, would you like to add, Dr. Solazzi?
Well, no, Julian summarized it. It's true. We kind of got started in Ethiopia maybe 5-6 years ago now, and in a sense we kind of found each other. We were looking at a number of hospitals in Africa, and we were looking for a situation where one, we were wanted, and two, they would speak English, three, we were really looking for a teaching hospital which fits the Black Lion with Addis Ababa University. Yeah, we started there, and we've been going back now for 4 or 5 years, and we're still at it.
Okay, so just going to Dr. Judelman here. What were your initial observations when you arrived at Black Lion Hospital? What areas were you did you realize needed help, and is that how then you selected your choice on how, in what capacity to support them, and what have you accomplished so far in the past 5-6 years?
Well, on our initial visit, there were a number of areas where we saw there was a need. Our primary focus in the very beginning was in the operating rooms, which is where we work, sort of anesthesia and surgery, and certainly there were a number of areas where we saw we could help. Firstly, in terms of the physical plant, the operating rooms, their actual the state of the operating rooms, the equipment that they had in the operating rooms, in terms of the anesthesia equipment, the surgical equipment, and then secondly, in terms of personnel. And again, that's the medical students, the doctors there are great. That's no issue. They have great training and they're good doctors and they're dedicated. And where we felt we could help them was in this area of improving equipment, improving the way the operating rooms function, in helping them develop nursing skills, and then a number of other more specific areas we found once we sort of got more involved and worked with them. If you want, I can go into that.
Right. Okay. And Dr. Solazzi, maybe just as a follow-up, you said you've traveled there for the last 5 years, so I'm sure numerous times over that time. And in terms of progress, I know it's not been an easy journey probably, but what are the significant milestones have you reached since you've started work there?
Well, we definitely have made progress. I think when we first started, when I first walked in that hospital, I thought, oh, where do you start? Where do you start? I mean, just everything is in need.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I'm thinking, this is impossible. This is impossible. We're a little group, you know. But I think we've kind of surprised ourselves. And that one of the big things that keeps us going is if we look behind us to what we've done. We've done a lot, and conditions are definitely better there today than they were when we started. And it's certainly not just our group. There's lots of groups sort of trying to help that hospital. I think, modesty aside, we've been one of the more effective ones. But as Dr. Judelman said, the doctors there are capable. That's a non-issue, but they're really technology starved. They really want the newest and the latest equipment, drugs. They know about it, they read about it, they have patients that need it. So we've really tried to help them kind of ramp up their technology in terms of laparoscopic surgeries and newer anesthetic techniques and things like that. So I would say looking at the equipment we've delivered, looking at the teaching programs we've done has encouraged us because it is definitely better.
Right. Okay.
And another question for Dr. Judelman. What inspires you to go back? Like you said, you've been doing this for 4 and 5 years. To go back, travel thousands of miles, go back to the organization that you initially started with.
Well, firstly, I retired from my work 3 years ago, so I was looking for something to get involved in my retirement time, and this seemed the ideal project to be involved in. Something where I can give back, use my medical skills to help people. I've worked in Seattle for 29 years, and Seattle has lots of doctors, and there's no shortage of medical care, and we have great medical facilities. And here was a way to go somewhere and do something in a place that really has an incredible need for it, where our services are really needed. And for me, there's another small dimension, is that I'm originally from South Africa. And so for me, the idea of going back to the African continent, I went to medical school in South Africa and then left there and came to the United States. So for me, the idea of going back to Africa and giving back something from what I got my great start was also for me another satisfying element to it.
Okay. Dr. Solazzi, I just had an interesting question. I've heard that the cost of setting up ICU units here in the U.S., for example, is obviously a lot of money. But what it takes to set up such a facility, say in Africa or Black Lion Hospital, is not the same. It's much less. And therefore, actually, with a small amount of money, you could actually quite be effective over there. So sometimes it's great to give our audience maybe a scale difference on what it takes to get one of those. And I know an ICU type of service facilities are very critical need in Black Lion Hospital.
And in this country, but really globally,
Yeah.
providing ICU services is arguably the most expensive part of medical care. Very intensive, lots of machines and monitors, nurses and personnel involved, lab support. It's an expensive undertaking. To set up an ICU per bed in the United States, I'm sure, is well over $1 million for all of the assorted equipment. In Ethiopia, in the Black Line in particular, they're really working hard to upgrade their ICU capabilities. And yeah, we've been able to help them. We brought them a lot of monitors and beds, and we estimate that maybe for $20,000 we can bring them a pretty darn good ICU bed with appropriate monitors and things like that. So yeah, I mean, the difference really is from $1 million to maybe 20,000. We're bringing equipment that is still very serviceable. We're really particular not to bring them junk, because a lot of groups have sent a lot of equipment that's truthfully worthless. And so we only send the same brand of anything so they can service it. We bring technicians who help them learn to take it apart and put it back together. We're trying to extend the useful life of all of this for a long time. We're really, at least to the best of our ability, we try to think this through soup to nuts so that we don't drop equipment and run, and we really help prepare them and get them set to
Right.
using it.
So it's more about helping themselves for the long term so they can
Sure.
be empowered. That's very interesting because it ties into the fundraiser event that some of the local community is supporting you with, that we'll talk about a little bit later. And that the fundraising event, even though the amounts of, say, 10, 20, 30,000 seem small, it's a lot of capacity building dollars for you
Yeah,
in Addis Ababa.
yeah.
So it's critical to let our audience know that that's the reason a lot of these fundraisers are so important, that it's not about making $1 million or $100,000, $500,000. It's about even a small amount of money can really help you get there.
You're absolutely
Okay.
right. For us, $20, $50, we really, really stretch it.
Right.
Our organization is non-governmental. We don't have anything to do with the Ethiopian government nor the United States government. We don't get any support or have any interaction with either of them, nor are we religious. We are all kind of grassroots volunteers. This is a people-to-people effort. And yeah, anybody that comes to the fundraiser and is willing to give us a little money, I promise you we will stretch that many, many folds over. And you're right, for what we can do with $1,000 there versus here in the States is orders of magnitude different. So
Right.
yeah, small contributions are great.
Okay, great.
Yeah, now this next question is going to be for the both of you. Yeah, what are your short-term and long-term goals in terms of working with the hospital? And do you plan on expanding your services to other locations or other hospitals in Ethiopia?
Well, I guess our short-term goals, one of our goals was initially, as anesthesiologists when we first came there, was to help the anesthesia department, which was in great need there. And the strides that has made has been amazing. When we came there, there were 4 anesthesiologists in the department and only 2 anesthesia residents. And they had not had anybody apply to become an anesthesiologist to do the training for 3 years. And last year, in our second year there, they had 4 new residents in anesthesia. And now they've added another 8. So already their anesthesia department has tripled in size with the residents that they're training. And now we've expanded to other areas. We've had other specialties get involved from our hospital at Swedish. We now have orthopedic surgeons, ENT surgeons, nephrologists, and other surgical specialties, vascular surgeons going. So we're now helping the hospital in a much broader area as well. And we've now expanded to other hospitals as well. For instance, one of the thrusts now is involved in treating patients in kidney failure. And there's another hospital very close to Black Line called Zuwaditu Hospital. And there is where the kidney program is based. And we're now, our last trip in October when Dr. Solazzi went, they did their first set of surgeries there to get patients ready for a dialysis program. And that's going to be expanded on this coming trip. And we're also taking people along on the coming trip who are going to look at the idea of setting up a dialysis program at this public hospital. The only dialysis available in Addis right now is at private hospitals, and patients have to pay a lot of money to be able to get dialysis. And so for poor people, there is no dialysis option available for kidney failure patients. And so one of our next goals is to help set up a kidney dialysis program for the public.
Anything to add, Dr. Solazzi, to that?
Short-term goals. My short-term goal is to get our current equipment through customs, because any of the Ethiopians in the audience will know that can be a challenge. And yeah, it's a struggle. So that's a short-term goal. We'll be there, as Julian kind of mentioned, for 3 weeks this fall. We go twice a year for 3 weeks at a time. And long-term, I tell all of our group, we need to have a 20-year horizon on this. This is not a quick fix. It's going to need to go on long after we're all dead. And if we can keep a 20, 30-year horizon, and if we can build an organization with people from Seattle, both people from the Ethiopian community and different in that it's not a university-driven, it's not a governmental-driven thing, it's really a people-to-people effort. I think part of our efficiency is because all of us that go work in medical care. We work in the ORs where the rubber meets the road, and so I feel like we have a good perspective on what's important and what's not, and we try to really focus on important things. So anyway, long term, I'd like to see us really sustain this, get the Ethiopian community more involved. We are gaining, we're getting more members all the time, and it's slow, it's a struggle. It's a hard sell here in Seattle. You know, most Seattleites, where's Ethiopia? And myself included, you know, first time I have to kind of look, say, where is this, you know? But if we're successful in painting the true picture of what life is like there and what the conditions are at the Black Lion, it's really hard to walk away. And those Ethiopians in the community here who are been to Addis and have family there and know about the Black Lion, they'll understand immediately because it's desperate, and we just sort of do what we can to help.
Right. So you touched upon a topic that I was about to ask, which is ability for folks to support you. There's a lot of health professionals, other students, whatever have you, that are have an interest in this topic. And would you say that their support would be either in traveling with you to do the services that you're doing, or is there more things, more and more maybe here in Seattle that they can support you at the back end, also back end and Addis?
Yeah, really both. We have brought quite a number of people with us who don't have a medical background because there's a lot of grunt work involved in this. We have cleaned rooms and painted rooms and cleaned equipment, and there's a lot of work that way. So yeah, if we have people who are interested in joining us and helping, we'd be really happy for that. We also spend many, many hours in Seattle really getting equipment ready to be shipped, and that's an enormous job. You can always get a hold of our group through our website. Our website is seattleao.org, and you can volunteer that way. It's Fundraiser. We'll be there, and you can certainly sign up at the fundraiser, but we're eager for anybody who's got extra energy and willing to help.
Okay, great. So, Dr. Solazzi, you mentioned that it takes up to $1 million here in the U.S. to outfit an ICU adequately, and it could take maybe on a smaller scale up to $20,000 in the Ethiopia, which is a varying degree of, it's a huge number, it's a big gap. But I've also heard that could be done for even less to outfit in a basic form. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the costs I'm talking about are kind of a per bed cost. So in the United States, I think really $1 million per bed is probably a conservative number.
Yeah.
And yeah, we feel like we can do it for close to 20, but because we get a lot of equipment that's donated, we recondition that equipment. We've had donated ICU beds, oxygen things. For about $5,000, we figure we can put an ICU bed together. So at the fundraiser that's coming up, the idea is that those funds will try to kind of put together as many ICU beds as possible.
Okay.
And do you have any opportunities for young people, to travel to Ethiopia and be a part of this amazing experience?
Well, certainly, I think in different parts of our project, for instance, we start out collecting equipment here and having to pack it. We have a storage facility here where we accumulate equipment while we're getting it ready to ship over. And so we spend many weekend days and packing the stuff up into boxes and crating it, and then we have to get it to a shipping company because we have to deliver it ready for shipping on pallets to Boeing, who ships this for us for free when they deliver airplanes to Ethiopian Airlines. So certainly even on this end here in Seattle, like for instance right now, we have a storeroom at our facility with several hundred or thousands of sheets that were donated by Valley General Hospital to us. These are sheets that are in good condition, and these sheets are just lying in a pile in bags, and we need to box those sheets and get them ready to ship. So, starting from the very basic thing, somebody wants to come and spend some time with us packing sheets in boxes, as simple as that, and getting things ready to ship over. And then when we go on trips, there's always the language issue. So we've usually had somebody along with us to help in an interpreter role, or there are always some issues that come up. And so there is a place for, we've taken medical students, we've taken other students along. Obviously they don't play the same role as a physician or a nurse working in the hospital, but there are always administrative and other things that need to be done. So certainly we're open to that, and in terms of helping us on our website, helping with administrative work, helping set up a database of our donors. There are all kinds of things that we can use help with, in terms of the overall aspect of all the work we do. And certainly people, on our website there is a means for people to send us an email and volunteer, and for us to get in touch with them.
Yeah, again, your website
is seattleao.org.
seattleao.org.
Okay. So, Dr. Solazzi, you mentioned the trips you have occasionally to support this. So, when's your next trip, and maybe the next two, so people kind of
Coming up,
right?
Yeah, we're going to be leaving October 28. We'll be there for 3 weeks.
Okay.
We're bringing a group of about 28 people for that 3-week period, and then we'll go again in the spring, typically end of February, 1st of March. We try to go twice a year for 3 weeks. So it's we're on the ground in Addis 6 weeks a year.
6 weeks
pretty
a
much.
year.
And we've been doing that now for 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. Great. Okay. So we're almost at the end of our interview. I'd like to thank both of you for joining us today. I know you're taking precious time away from your work and family, but I think it's important to get the message out there. And as we mentioned earlier, I want to let our audience know that there is an event sponsored by members of the Ethiopian American community and others, of course, around the Puget Sound on Sunday, October 6th. These Good Samaritans have come together to host a fundraiser event at the Northwest African American Museum at 23rd Avenue in South Massachusetts, here in the Central District of Seattle on Sunday, October 6th again at 3 p.m. We'd like to extend an invitation to you to attend this event and support this great cause. And tickets will be available at the door for admission. And for additional information also, you can call 425-773-6678 and get more information.
687.
Again, 425-773-6878. Thank you. እሺ ተመልካቾቻችን እንግዲህ በድጋሜ እናመሰግናለን ቆይታችሁ ከኛ ጋር ማድረጋችሁ ዶክተር ሶላዚም ዶክተር ዩልማንም በጣም እናመሰግናለን ጊዜያቸውን ወስደው እዚህ ስለተገኙ እንግዲህ በፊታችን እሁድ ኦክቶበር 6 ከ3 ፒኤም ጀምሮ በኖርትዌስት አሜሪካን ሚውዚየም የሚካሄድ ዝግጅት አለ ይሄም ዝግጅት የነሱ የዶክተር ሶላዚን ዶክተር ዩልማን ስራ ማለትም seattleao.org ወይ ደግሞ SAO በተለምዶ በሚባለው ድርጅት ለመደገፍ ነው በዚህም አጋጣሚ የሚጠራቀሙ ብር በአዲስ አበባ ጥቁር አንበሳ ሆስፒታል አይሲዩ ዩኒት ወይ ደግሞ ከፍተኛ ክትትል የሚያስፈልጋቸው ህሙማንን ለማስተናገድ የሚቻልበትን ለመክፈት ይደግፋል ያንኑ ዩኒት ወይ አንደኛው ክፍል ይሄ የተጠቀሰው እስከ 5000 ብር ብቻ ነው የሚያስፈልገው እና በሚጠራቀሙ ብር ያለም ያን ያህል ቦታ ይከፈታል ማለት ነው እንግዲህ ይሄንን ዛሬ ኢንተርቪው ድል ሰጠናንም የኢትዮጵያ ዩት ሚዲያን በጣም እናመሰግናለን ኢትዮጵያ ዩት ሚዲያ እንደምታውቁት በወጣቶችና እንደዚሁም ሌሎች የኢትዮጵያ ኮሚኒቲ አባላት የሚደገፍና ብዙ አገልግሎት የሚሰጥ ድርጅት ነው እና ክትትላችን ወደፊት በዚህ ቴሌቪዥን ፕሮግራም እንደምታካሂዱ ተስፋ እናደርጋለን እናመሰግናለን ብለን
አመሰግናለሁ ፍጹም እንግዲህ ካን እንዳለው ኦክቶበር 10 2012 የሚመጣው እሁድ ማለት ነው ሁላችንም ተገኝተን ሰፖርት እናደርጋለን ይሄንን ፈንድሬዘር እሱ የለበሰውን አይ ሰፖርት ብላክ ላይን ሆስፒታል የሚለውን ዶክተር ጁልማን አድርጓል ያንን ቲሸርት እና ሌሎች ነገሮችንም በመግዛት ያው ሀገራችንን መርዳት ወገኖቻችንን መርዳት እንችላለን ስለዚህ አደራ ኦክቶበር 6 2012 እንድንገናኝ እና አብራችሁ ስለቆያችሁ ደግሞ እናመሰግናለን በሚቀጥለው ፕሮግራማችን እስከምንገናኝ ድረስ መልካም ምሽት